Hello everybody and welcome to Silverstone. My name is EvilDragonxxl. Joining me in this beautiful box is someone I haven't commentated on F1 even, well, for years, a long time. It is Vectro. Hello Vectro.
Hello everybody, Vector here. I think this is the first time I've been commentating for this league, isn't it? I think it is. Anyway, really good race coming up right here at Silverstone. Classic cars, the Ferrari, McLaren, Red Bull from 2010 and the Braun GP from 2009. So, Evil, are you looking forward to this race and what are your expectations?
Well, these are my favourite cars, the 09, 010 cars. I adore this particular look. Now, expect to see the Braun to be doing quite well today. So far, it is not a Braun on pole, so that's a bit of a surprise for me. It's Vettel on pole in the Ferrari then. So Vettel quickest in the Ferrari from Tony in the McLaren. Then we got Apush, Plex in the other Ferrari. Then we've got Cam, and then comes Perkins in that Braun, driving the very sporting helmet that is very much suits that car.
Well, there's a Ferrari off. That's Bevesser. He's damaged his front wing, I think, on the right-hand side.
Indeed, so bit of an issue there. And that's coming down out of Brooklands, down into Luffield. We'll have a look. He does not see, yeah, he's a little bit at the front right end plate missing there. So that means it's kind of floating itself and he gets well out of the way.
It's weird. The end plate is gone, but the normal plate is there. And oh, there's another Red Bull off. That's Daddy. No damage on the car I can see, but two Magas and backers, a big mistake. I've also seen a crash before the stream started from Leclerc. Oh, he needs to get out of the way of Tony.
Ah, he's run out of fuel.
Yeah. Oh. Yeah, he should go off the racing line then, otherwise that will hinder other people's lap times.
Meanwhile, looking at the two Brauns right now, they're coming through Brooklands into Luffield then, and the two Brauns getting very close together there as both passing each other. Yellow flag sector 3, that'll be for Daddy back at the background then, who's having issues. The Brauns warm their tyres up there in the middle sector. Tony currently in second, and Vettel currently P1.
Tony trying his best to get another 10th to get on pole position. Of course, he got hindered by the slow driving Red Bull, of course, but this lap should be clean for him. Got another yellow flag as Daddy stopped at the track. He's not going into the pits, but he stopped.
Struggling to figure out what he's doing then, so issues there for the Red Bull. Now what's happened here, he's kind of carried on. Now I think he's retired or something there because he's having issues there. Let's have a look.
He's kind of in the middle of the road.
Yeah, he's currently in the middle of the road then, so a very dangerous place for the Red Bull then. And that's the AI, I believe, it's taken over. It's going awfully slow there. Around the middle sector, we'll keep an eye out who's on a lap. Right now we've got Cam on a lap now. He's coming down into Stowe Corner. Vettel currently P1 there with 129.9. We're waiting for Cam. He's coming through the last couple of corners and in the Red Bull then. Late on the brakes. Chuck it into the left, then into the right. And this has to be perfect. It needs to be crucial for him in the championship. Crosses the line. Can he go fastest? Yes, he does. With a 129.8. So, quickest for Cam when he needed it most. Now, who else on that? Then there comes Lutonic going thickest as well. Tony goes even quicker in the McLaren then. So, times are tumbling now into the low 29s. Now, who's next? I think it might be Plex in the Ferrari.
Vettel's also on the lap.
That's all.
Plex comes to the line earlier.
Plex through the last couple of corners then into Stoke, into the club complex, then into the Vale. Last corner around Silverstone, crosses the line, goes P3 for the time being. Good lap from him. Sector 1, yellow flags.
That's Daddy. He's still going slowly.
Yes. Perkins crossing the line. Let's see what he can do. The Braun needs to find himself just over half a second. Can't do it this lap round. His teammate stays 6th. Now we're just waiting, Vetro. Who's the next man on a lap? It must be Vettel then, in that Ferrari. Doing well. Of course, Vettel in real life was driving in the Red Bull, and that helmet definitely reminds me of Alonso's helmet, I must say. The brakes, Vettel chucks into the last corners.
All the yellow flags we're seeing now are for Daddy is back, but he should be making it to the pits soon.
Vettel currently stays P5 then for the time being. Did not improve his lap time. So we're just waiting, presumably, Vettel, for everyone to come in the pit lane.
Yeah, everybody will start the final lap then. Chris and Bevestia has not done a lap yet. And like I wanted to say, Leclerc has been crashed out at the chapel complex.
Crashed into the chapel. And, well, people are praying down there. Won't be actually praying today. So, issues all around.
The professor now on a lap. He needs to get a lap on the board at least. Otherwise, it will be thrown away qualifying, of course.
He's got 5 minutes to go, Vetro. A long lap round Silverstone. Now, the layout we're driving on right now was driven by these 010 cars. The Braun drove on the other layout, didn't it, Vetro?
I think it actually did, yeah. In 2010, I know in 2010 they were doing all the building for the next for the new pits complex and stuff. So it could be actually. I actually don't know.
I think, yes, looking it up, yes, it is. 010 they're around on this new complex we see currently. And 09 they're around on the old bridge layout, the old, what I call kind of the historical layout in some essence nowadays. But it's always difficult what is the best layout between the two of them. This new layout's a lot more flowing, but the old one, always a popular circuit. We're looking at the Ferrari down the straight, and Bavey needs to go a lap very quickly. Down the brakes.
Daddy is back is still not going into pits. He's still driving really slowly over the across the track. Don't really know what's the deal there, and he stopped and now he's going again. Anyway, Professor goes at the P7 with a 1:30.9.
We're now waiting on the Braun then, and that'll be Chris to do a lap then. So let's see what he can do in the other Braun. Won the 09 championship, won it by not too many points, and oh dear. As that is not what you want to see then, so that his back has been disqualified, so he'll be starting at the back, and he's been disqualified twice for that matter, so that's not gone well at all. So,
He's been disqualified twice.
Here we go then, the Braun down the straight, that monstrous Mercedes engine, the V8, revving away, roaring down the straight, coming down into Stowe Corner then. Let's see what can he do then. Into the right. Now look for the left then. Down they come into the club complex then. Quick left, down into second gear. Now you build up the revs then, a never-ending little corner. Then into the Vale, the last corner. Can the Braun get himself off the penultimate rope? Stays last for the time being. Now who's next on a lap? It must be Cam coming to a lap or beginning a lap. Yes, it is. Yellow flags in Sector 1 then. So someone's gone off down there or having a slow lap. So Cam, we're looking at Bevy right now. I believe he'll be coming in the pit lane. Yes, he does then. So Cam is the first driver on a lap then of these group of cars. The Braun behind him. And that's going to be helping the Braun, actually, who's warming up his tyres and through Brooklands, then down into Luffield, then into Woodcote Corner back to a very fast little right-hander, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. It's one of the really tricky corners on this track, and it can really ruin, it can really make or break your lap time, because if you get a bad exit there, you take all that speed with you down to
Cops Corner.
fast right-hander, which I think it's Cops?
Yeah, it's Cops Corner, then down into Maggots, Beckett's, and then down into Chapel Corner, of course, named after the chapel that used to be a little while away. Bit wide there for Cam.
Right there.
And going to warm his tyres up as the Nexus has joined us. But it's a bit late.
Yeah, I don't know if he can still get a lap in. I doubt it.
No, he won't be able to do it. He's left Sesson then.
Oh, he's left again
traffic
as well.
in the last sector there. Cam running extremely wide.
That might invalidate his lap time.
See through the last corner then, the Red Bull. Bit wide there through Vale, that's not going to help, and that's going to ruin his lap time then, so he stays down there. Chris has retired then as he's had enough of that, so who next? Do a lap, and that was Vettel there, almost into the back of one of the Brauns, and that must be Rubinho. He's almost crashed into good old Barrichello. Well, so far, Tony up front. We're looking at EvilDragonxxl. He's coming through Stowe, down to the back of the circuit. Let's see what he can do. Chuck it through there. It's 170 miles an hour. Down on the brakes. Chuck it into the left. Then into the right. Then one more corner to go. Then into the last right-hander. Let's see. Can get on the front row. Stays down there in second position for the time being. Back Tony then. In the McLaren then. Coming through the last corner. He's currently on pole. Can he extend it? Yes, he does then. So 2 tenths up. So 129.2. And even quicker.
Good lap. 5 tenths is how the gap to Luton. But Plix is still on the lap and he needs about 6 tenths to get on pole position. But he... okay, he backs down off his lap. So I don't think... No, I think Tony has got pole position if Luton cannot improve.
We're waiting. We've got Vettel still to do a lap so far. I mean, he's coming through the back of the circuit. Doesn't look like it's a particularly hot lap for him. So Vettel down the back. Can he improve? Does go only 5th position then. So very close. Now all eyes are going to be on the Red Bull of Luton then. Can he get himself on to pole position? He's only 9 thousandths off of the top time, I believe then. So he comes through the middle sector. 3,000. It's going to be awfully close. Cam retired, so he's done then.
Yeah, Cam just had a massive accident.
So Cam is done. Here we go then. Luton, down on the brakes. He needs to do this. It needs to be crucial. He has to get himself up on pole position. He's got low fuel in the Red Bull. Comes to the line. Now blasted out. Can he get pole? No, he can't then. So, second position, he didn't do it. McLaren there.
I don't know if he's on the lap.
Down as well. Plix. Let's see.
Bush is still on the lap. Vettel is still on the lap.
Plix up in the first sector then. Now we're looking at Vettel then. Let's see. Can the Ferrari snatch itself a pole position then? But so far, it is McLaren, Red Bull, Ferrari then. Let's see. So Vettel up by 2 and a bit tenths then. This should put him 4th position so far. Might even be 3rd then. As long as he gets these last couple of corners done. Down onto the brakes then. Chuck it into the last corner. This is the crucial thing, Vettel. He has to get these last 2 corners perfect. Brakes are lit. Tyres are warm. Cross the line. Can he do it? Goes up to P3 then in the Ferrari. Does what he needs to do then. What about those Brawns? Can they do anything? Apple is up a little bit. 5 tenths up. Stays P6.
Plix now comes in with 5 corners.
Up 3 tenths. This should put him up to P2 then, the Ferrari. Up, hopefully upsetting his fellow teammate then through the last corner. Can he get himself up to P2? Yes, he does.
So Plix at the end still managing to drag a P2 out of there. Really good luck from him.
Awfully.
Only a bit under 2 tenths difference. That's not a lot.
So, Tony, Plix, then comes Luton, Vettel, then Cam, then comes Apus, then comes Bev, then comes Perkins, then comes Chris. Charles Leclerc down in 10th position after a horrible accident, and Dave's back in Japan, down the back.
Who's been also disqualified twice.
Yes. So now, we just sit back, wait. And you've got a question here, Vatcho. It's going to be awfully close into turn number 1. It's a quick run down there. You're shaking. It's a flat right hander, then to the left, then down into the complex. Cloudy conditions, but looks to me like no rain potentially. But it's Silverstone and Britain, so probably means a horrible thunderstorm is about to loom.
Well, it's dynamic weather, so anything can happen. That's the fun thing about this game. You never know what the weather throws at you. You may have done about 50 laps of practice in the dry, but what if it rains? All the practice is, well, at least you learn the track, but in the rain everything's different, of course.
Indeed, well, we'll find out then. So, we've only got a little bit to go then. The 6-second countdown begins. And then we will be racing. Here on the circuit. The lights, remember, come up for the formation lap, and oh god, they've all despawned. And everyone's back.
Everybody seems to spawn in. And Tony is away quickly. He treats it like a normal race start.
Letting everyone warm up then. So Tony wants to go early then, wants to get those tyres up to temperature. Everyone else follows them through then. So, McLaren, Ferrari, Red Bull, Ferrari, Red Bull, Brawn, Ferrari, Brawn, McLaren, and at the back comes the other Red Bull then, which you might as well call it a Toro Rosso. And look at this then. 2010, all running through, and I have to say actually, that his back actually is rather jumped a lot position forward actually, because he's currently P4 on circuit, but he is at the back of course. That's why everything's a little bit confusing on this formation lap then. So luckily on this game we don't really get penalties for overtaking under the formation lap, which you do in real life. So very fortunate there then. But Tony really wants to get this formation lap over, because he's coming through there, down under the the back straight, the hangar straight, and everyone else is just coming through the last couple of corners then. That's down there. So
I don't blame Tony, because the formation lap doesn't really do anything to your tires or anything.
Look at Cam, right the way down here, waiting everyone up then. So Cam taking his time. So, very mixed up grid then. So yeah, the leaders are all the way down here, and everyone else has only just got down the back of the hangar straight. So very spread out grid. So we might be here on the grid for quite a while, and luckily it doesn't affect the tyres too much, Vetcher, does it?
I hope not. No, and actually Daddy's back, who's supposed to be in the P11, is now in 4th.
And you're all slotting down into the 7th position there. So you'll all be waiting there an awful long time. And so we're looking then at Fresh's last place on this grid, because Charles Leclerc is ahead of all of this group then. So a very intriguing grid lineup. But all these guys up front are waiting on the grid. McLaren, the Ferraris, the other McLaren, the Red Bull as well. Top 4 all together. Then we're waiting for the other Red Bull to cross the line then. And then they all slot in position and waiting on the last car. There we are then. So, Daddy back at the back. And we're going to have 5 red lights ahead of the drivers then. And here we are then. The lights come on then here for Silverstone. The 5 red lights and they're off. We are underway then. It's a good start immediately from the Ferrari. Then up Plex. He gets a good start. Then off the grid. So everyone runs themselves down into turn 1. But crucially, the Ferrari leads then. Carly's in the background. One of the other Ferraris gets airborne there in the background. But good start from Plex. Good start from Tony as well as he hunts. And there's contact in the back. Got a Brawn around. We've got a Red Bull around.
Ferrari off as well.
Ferrari off as Carly's in the background. 3 cars off.
3 cars. It's Cam, Bavazier and Adapush.
At a push, but here we go, then up front. Ferrari, McLaren, Red Bull, they're all 3 abreast, they're down into Brooklands. And it's the Ferrari who leads, the McLaren goes wide, and the McLaren spins, and the Ferrari gets sideways, and the Red Bull leads. Here in Silverstone, my God.
Yeah, Tony lost a lot of position, and also Plix involved in that incident. Tony on the outside, nothing he can do about that. I think he got tapped by Plix a bit.
And here we go.
On the outside again.
Charles Leclerc
again.
Up front, runs wide. Both the McLarens off the road then. They want to be careful there. They don't run into each other, so they come down to the corner. Ferrari, McLaren, side by side, down into the Maggots Beckett's complex. Great to see. And that almost ended wrong as the McLaren goes round and spins.
He hit the back. He reset the car, but he hit the back of Leclerc and he got round again.
Meanwhile,
Daddy is back defending from Cam, and Cam is through. And Daddy is back, goes a bit on the grass, but
in the pits comes one of the McLarens. So that must be Leclerc in the pit and early, as well as BV. Tony stays out then. So far it's Luton from Vettel then comes the Brawns, and then comes Plix and the Ferrari then. So if the Ferrari must not got too much damage, he's going to try and take the Brawn then. Down to lap number 2. Then on the brakes, thinks about it that as the 2 Brawns get close together then. This is crucial actually for Ferrari. He needs to try and dispatch these Brawns as soon as he can. Now he goes through them, so straight away, there's one.
Now the next one.
Yeah, what's
he
that,
seems to have better pace than Chris.
You see, is Perkins going to try and come back? Thinks about it then, can't do it, has to back off then. This might allow Cam an opportunity then as well.
Yeah, the Braun had a really bad exit, and here comes the Red Bull. Cutting the track there actually, but
we'll see if through.
And also Plix side by side with Chris.
Yeah, Plix like said, Vettor wide then through the first corner, then into Cop's corner, then comes the Braun, then comes the Red Bull. But up front, it's Luton leading as Tony gets past the Red Bull at the back though, so not going well for the Red Bull, going off the circuit again. Meanwhile, up front then, side by side, Ferrari Braun, Red Bull Braun, and the Ferrari through ahead of the Braun. What about that Red Bull? Is the Red Bull through? Then the Red Bull through past one of the other Braun. Here comes Puss going up the inside, and then on the brakes. Here comes one of the three Brauns. The Red Bull keeping with it, then the Red Bull spins nearly. So the Red Bull losing the rear, but keeps it on the island just about Vettor, and that is crucial. He did not need to spin again then, Cap. So it's so far Ferrari, Red Bull, Ferrari, Braun, Red Bull. Then comes the McLaren, then comes the other Red Bull, then the other McLaren, and then the Ferrari down the back.
Really bad start for Professor, and also of course for Tony. He started on pole, he's got the fastest lap, but with his pace I have no doubt that he can make up some positions again.
Meanwhile, Perkins and Puss
side
by side, and Puss gets through, then past Perkins then. So Perkins now going to be at the mercy of the Red Bull, who I imagine is going to be snapping away at the heels very quickly, because you can see, look at the exit speed the Braun does get compared to the Red Bull. The Red Bull superior there on the exit speed there. Meanwhile, the other Braun going side by side down the inside into Cop's corner. Gets the move done. So bad exit there. Chris lifted off there, looked like then. So the Brauns racing away with each other. Contact there down into Brooklyn, into Maggots and Beckett. The two Brauns
he actually made it through.
Very close. He comes through though, and this is allowing the Red Bull to come through and allowing that McLaren as well. Three abreast then as they come down the straight.
Here comes Tony on the outside. Last time he was on the outside, it didn't go well for him. Does it go well this time?
Round the outside, can he do it? The Braun and the Red Bull and the McLaren close together. The McLaren gets squeezed off. Now up the inside line then. The Red Bull keeps on the outside. Has he got through then? I believe yes. The Red Bull just about holding the line. The McLaren on the outside has to back off though, as now they come behind Perkins. Oh, God!
Oh, it's off! Camo is off!
Horrible accident there! And oh no!
The whole barrier has been lifted up, and that's a massive accident there.
And now, hope that Cam is okay. That's a big off. I suppose he will be, unless he's on his steering wheel, in which case that was a very big one indeed.
The entire barrier is just on his car.
And these cars, remember, do not run the halo. So, hopefully everything's okay down there. I suppose it will be. The helmet's a very strong thing, piece of equipment there, but hopefully everything is okay there. But a monumental shunt here on lap 4 of 13. Vettel though leads this race. The Ferrari leads the Red Bull though. 2.5 seconds. Meanwhile, Plex off the road there, and that's off down at Chapel there. So he's gone wide. So Perkins is now behind. Then comes Chris. Then comes Tony. And then way back is Daddy's back in Leclerc. Way down out of this race as Luton gets a 3-second time penalty.
That's not what he needs because he is, well, actually the gap to Vettel is really, really big. So I don't know if he can make that up again.
And that is another car off. And that's Daddy back. Now where's he gone off? I'm wondering then. Looking on a border of Leclerc. So let's see if we can spot it. His dad looks to me, yes, he's just retired the car, it looks like that. No, he's lost the front left wheel, so he's gone into the wall then. Very odd place to crash. Down there, towards the hangar straight, down towards Stowe.
In the meantime, Tony and Chris getting a bit of a tangle. Tony on the rear. Yeah, I think Cam crashed because Tony hit the back of him. That looked on my screen as well. It just kind of looked like he hit the back of him and he spun him out. Anyway, Tony finds his way past Chris and is now to 6th. The next one he's overtakes Perkins.
So the McLaren then, the beautiful McLaren be ahead of that Brawn. Gotta say though, Vex, the question is, look, I do love the Brawn. Did you just wish sometimes that these 2010 cars, they didn't run that really long shark fin? It's a very interesting opinion.
Flicks off! Oh. Excuse me, what did you say?
About the shark fins on these 2010 cars, what's your opinion on them?
I personally do not like them. I don't really like the way they're attached to the rear wing, to be honest.
It's something that I think quite a lot of us can agree on.
Luton in.
Luton in then. So an early stop then. Remember, all these drivers will presumably have to pit once at least. I don't know how the tyres will be doing, but they're definitely going to be very worn out. So Plix now to P3. So it's still now Ferrari, then leading the Brawn, then leading the other Ferrari. Something that would only happen once in 09, where a Ferrari beat a Brawn. So as I said, that wasn't Spa.
Plix off again, and Tony off.
Yeah, Plix and Perkins and Tony battling away then down the back of the circuit. So the McLaren's got a very long straight line speed, but that Brawn's a very quick car, so he's expecting the Brawn's going to cover it. The Brawn has to cover it. He's not going to do it then. So up the inside comes the McLaren then. Late on the brakes. Good action shots here. Bit of contact there, and Perkins' front wing is broken.
Now, if I was Perkins now, I would pit this lap, because otherwise you will lose way too much time with a broken rear front wing, especially on this circuit, because you need the downforce.
Yeah, you need the downforce in this high-speed section then, but never mind. We'll find out what happens then. So Chris down there in 6th. Then comes Leclerc, Luton, just behind Leclerc actually. So Leclerc, who believe should be going to the end of this race on that set of tyres, potentially, is currently ahead of Luton. He did stop very early, so it's so far worked out then for the young driver Leclerc. Then BV behind him, he's also made a pit stop. So far, like Vettel leading this race. He's coming through the first couple of corners, and doesn't look like he's stopping. So I'm wondering if Luton had damage or something. If these drivers do need to stop, it's very rare, I believe. I don't believe they stopped last time out. So we'll find out.
Don't they have a certain tyre rule they have to...
not in these cars. They only run one compound then, so they could go to the end of the race. We'll find out if the tyres can do that, so it'll be interesting. But through the middle of the sector, so far everything is running well.
This track is hard on the tyres because of the long left-handers, long right-handers, and it'll be interesting to see, especially the left tyres will pack a punch. Yeah, they'll be
definitely warring out then. So through the middle sector then, a lot of battling going on so far. So we'll take you through. The real incident so far in this race was a spectacular accident then with Cam down into the first corner, down into the right-hander of Abby then. Contact down with Tony and spun violently into the water, high-rated knots. We've heard, by the way, that he is okay then, so that is what we want to hear then. He's back in the paddock and he's very angry, Vettel.
Yeah, I would agree with that, because, well, there's another car off. It's Perkins, actually, going really slowly.
Lags, yeah, Perkins.
But, oh, someone has joined, but he's a bit late. He's about approximately 41 minutes late.
Not ideal for him then, down on the brakes. So, Perkins so far, he's making small mistakes, or he doesn't need to then. So, he's dropping himself further behind his fellow Brawn then of Chris, who's so far doing a good job through turn 1 and 2 as Arkin leaves us. And Vettel, meanwhile, a 3-second time penalty there. So that's not what he wants to do. Does not need to be getting penalties at the opening, well, at the end of this race. And all this is allowing is Puss just to close up ever so slightly, 8 seconds. Remember, Puss has that time penalty as well.
Yeah, there's a massive gap between them. Well, not really massive, but I would say significant. And they're lapping around the same lap time. So if he's, I don't think he is going to. If his pace stays like this, I don't think he will catch him up before the end of the race. But one small mistake for Vettel can, of course, change everything.
And so far, Tony and the other McLaren doing a relatively good job so far through the middle sector. had that contact earlier on, remember, with Cam, so the questions brought up if that was not ideal, of course, if that was a racing incident. Very odd to me. Vettel going faster, 130.3. That's a good lap time.
Let's see what Push does compared to him. Well, it's higher than a 135. It's 130.7. So he lost about 4 tenths again, so the gap is increasing and increasing.
30.1 for Tony. So Tony flying in the McLaren there. So the McLaren working well today, but very close field in terms of times.
Almost a full second quicker than Plex on his fastest lap.
So the Ferrari going to be under press then from Tony. Behind him there we've got the Brawns. And they're dropping back a little bit right now, so that downforce isn't working.
Yeah, one of the Brawns had a slight front wing damage.
And you know, when you get damage in these cars, actually, you lose a lot of downforce, especially in these 010 cars. The rings are so simplistic. When you damage them, you lose a lot more downforce than you think you would if you damage that in, say, a 2018 car.
That is true. They have a lot less elements and there's a lot less overall downforce, so you're more reliant on the front wing.
You did say these front wings are kind of just about as complex as the 2019 front wings, I suppose, aren't they? Would you say?
I think the 2010 front wings might be a bit more complex because I can see a lot more things going on there. But I think there's, of course, if you count the bar spores and of course the rear wing, I think these cars have overall less downforce, so they're more reliant on the front wing, even though it is more complex.
Of course, looking at the McLaren, of course, which run that very controversial, was it the F-duct, wasn't it, Vettel? That
the F-duct, yeah, on the left. You can see it on the left-hand side of the car.
Spawned in the DRS, didn't it, in essence, because it stalled the rear wing.
It's kind of DRS, yeah.
Very interesting complex, of course. You would use one hand, and of course, that was banned after certain Mr. Fernando Alonso was driving around a circuit one-handed and then no-handed, which the FIA looked at and was like, oh no, that's not good, because, you know, driving no-handed in an F1 car is not very good, is it?
No, it kind of shows you that it may have been a bit too easy. But then again, in the early 90s they are driving with one hand as well when they have to shift.
Yeah, indeed they were. So, it's always interesting, these developments in Formula 1. We've got 3 laps to go so far. Not a lot of battling going on in Silverstone. The home of the British Grand Prix has hosted nearly every race in Britain, bar in the 50s and 60s, where it did switch occasionally into the 70s, actually, with Brands Hatch. We have a British circuit to race around here. Of course, Aintree race, as well as Donington Park, that hosted the European Grand Prix in 1993, a race infamous for one of the potential, well, very much probable, the best driver in Formula 1, with Ayrton Senna 5th to 1st in one singular lap, a trophy you used to get on F1 2011. Random fact for you there.
Tony again a faster lap, a 1 minute 30 exactly.
Consistent, isn't he?
Really consistent, yeah, and he is getting closer and closer to Plix, because you can see him quite clearly now. Well, 2 laps to go. Leclerc's got a 5-second penalty. Is that going to hurt him?
Yeah, no, 3 seconds. That's 6 seconds now for Leclerc. So that's not ideal for him. But so far for Tony, he's just closing up ever so slightly onto the back of Plix. The gap there is about 2.6 seconds, and he really needs to pull out a little more time.
Luton is also catching up to Leclerc there, and Leclerc is catching up to Perkins. So now we've got Leclerc versus Perkins. This will be interesting.
I think about 7 tenths out of him then a lap. So it's going to be very interesting. But like you said, Leclerc, Perkins and Chris all closing up so fast. So, as well as Luton. And remember, that's the Brawn that has got damage on the front wing. So McLaren should easily be able to swamp him then. He's going to have a look then down the inside, down towards Copse Corner. Should be alongside, should have the grip. Side by side, wheel to wheel. Look at that. Good stuff there. The Brawn wide. And now what's up for the Red Bull? And this will be close to the outside line. The Red Bull straight through them. The Brawn can't do anything about it.
Perkins from 6th to 8th in the span of few corners, but of course What do you want with extra damage on the front wing? That's not going to help you, of course. And Leclerc has got a gap to Luton as well, so that's what he needs with all the penalties he's got. But Luton's also got a few penalties. So who knows, it might still be close at the end. We will only know at the end because we cannot check the penalties.
Well, gap up front, 8 seconds. We're on that 12 of 13 coming around what used to be the old start line. This is where, of course, up until 2010, there used to be the starting grid. Of course, was changed in 2011 when the pit complex was officially built. Looking at Vettel, by the way, he's a bit low on fuel. The yellow indicator telling him that he needs to be saving fuel. So it's not over. He definitely needs to save fuel for this last lap.
I think he does know what he's doing.
Let's hope so.
Normally it does start flashing. Yeah, it does start flashing red right now. That normally means you're right on the edge of it, but he should make it. He should not be in the danger zone yet.
One more lap to go then, here in Silverstone. Battle potentially brewing then between Luton and Leclerc. So Leclerc, remember, on these older tyres and since lap 1, compared to Luton, he's on a lot fresher tyres. Last lap was about 4 or 5 tenths separated them. The battle between...
Look at the fastest laps.
Tony, yeah. I pushed there with 129.9. Tony.
3 thousandths.
Well,
Do these drivers also get a point for fastest lap or not?
I believe so. We'll find out. So the gap now to 1.1 seconds as Cam has left the session, so he is done.
Leclerc and Chris are now battling.
Yeah, Leclerc, Chris.
Again.
Battling, so everyone closing up then. So they've caught right up to the other Brawn, and already he's right up the chuff of him. He wants to come through. Now is he going to go on the outside? That has to be brave through turn number 1. The McLaren squeezed wide, and the Brawn not allowing him to do anything. Now the Brawn runs wide, and let's see the McLaren might slip run up the inside then. Can he do it? Can't do it. The other Red Bull! Contact! And they almost collide. They do collide there. And the Red Bull there having to take very much avoiding action. Almost could have been an aeroplane crash there. That was awfully close. And now here we see then that McLaren going to try and close up on the Brawn. Big spell up the inside. Closing right up there. He's going to try and do it down to Woodcote, down into Cops Corner. It's going to be the place he's going to do it. What's up for the Red Bull then? The Red Bull charging through then. This is what he needs. This is crucial. And now we need to try and come through then. They're going to be very close. The Brawn just ahead. Then comes the McLaren. Then comes the Red Bull. This is what he needs. The Red Bull on the outside. Can he do 1? He might try and do 2 then. Down they come. Side by side. Down into Brooklyn. Into Maggott and Beckett they come. Still through. Oh, no.
Oh, contact.
They collide then. And the race is over, by the way. Push beats Vettel. And what has happened there? So penalty then.
The penalties. The penalties.
Did beat Vettel then. Plicks from Tony. We're looking at this battle here as it still rages on. The McLaren going to have one lunge on the brakes there. Down the inside. Later on the brakes. Has he got it through? Yes, he has. The Brawn tries to fight but can't do it.
And Tony also gets the fastest lap.
He's out of fuel.
He's out of fuel. Oh, there. And Chris takes 5th. Chris takes 5th, and this is so confusing.
And now we wait to see what the order was then, and just utter carnage. Well, it is Britain leading Scotland, I suppose, so that's one thing, but it's the Brawn that won the race, and what on earth happened there?
Well, it all kicked off at the end, that's for sure.
Well, that was an absolute brilliant.
Vettel only really lost because of the penalties, I think.
We'll see how much it was then. So that's the crucial thing. It had to have been very close. Unless, of course, he ran out of fuel. That's the only question. Yes, he must have run out of fuel, Vectro. He had to run out of fuel because, look, he lost 5 seconds then through the last corners. We didn't see it because looking at the battle. But a push, didn't have a penalty. And Vettel only had 1 penalty, so the only logical thing, he ran out of fuel.
So the fuel was a determining factor then?
Well, it's absolutely remarkable. So Plix is in 3rd, Tony will finish 4th then with a penalty then. Then comes Chris Perkins. The Clerk finished 7th with a 6-second time penalty. Luton as well as Beavy. So no changes there. Danny's back. Well, died. And Cam was murdered. So Khan is back. But who would you say was your driver of the day?
That's a really hard one. I should maybe Tony. He did a really good fight back, even though he started from pole and had some bad luck at the first couple of corners. But I think he did a really good job to get back to 4th. And yours?
Well, I've got to say, you've got to look at the likes of the Clerk coming back to 7th from pitting on that number 1. A very good lap for him. So it could be interesting. It's hard to say, but whatever the result is, we'll see you next week, Vetro, won't we, potentially? Who knows?
Potentially, yeah. Who knows?
Well, until next time, I've been Evil. Vetro's been Vetro. I haven't said that for a long time, by the way. It's nice to say that. Until next time, I've been Evil. Vetro's been Vetro. Goodbye.